There goes the famous pop. Oh, pops on accounts. Man, we have something for you today. Wow, it was what an amazing day. You want to lead started? Or you want
We are Bo and Cal. We are here to talk about our day. I need a tea to kind of mellow out. But we're here because we wanted to share some things with you in reference to our day and transitioning from one cell phone provider to another, and that story, and just some tips on what to do if you're in a situation as such. So let's turn it
okay.
over to you.
All right. So here's the deal. This whole ordeal started yesterday. Uh, we were driving, and one after another, missed call, drop calls. We couldn't communicate. We couldn't get signals, and it just got to the point where me and Bo, we were like, look, you know what? It's time to switch. Now, this has been after about 2 years of us really having major issues with getting signals and things like that with T-Mobile. Now, I've been a T-Mobile customer going on 9 years, and Bo has been a customer for quite some time as well. Between the both of us, we have 11 lines, 11 phones, one way or the other. That's a lot of phones. So I have 7. I know Bo has like 4. So here we go. So we said, you know what? It's time to make a change. We both got good phones, but so we go into the T-Mobile store the next day, which was yesterday, and we tell them, say, hey, we got these phones on T-Mobile, we want to switch. So they walked us through the process of calling T-Mobile, getting some kind of transfer number and
A
transfer
6-digit number. Yep.
PIN, so that we can transfer everything over. And they said because of the size of our job and the girl's about to take lunch or be off for the day, they suggested that we come back tomorrow so we can do everything. And at that time, they told us, they said, hey, since you guys are putting in the business, they said don't require credit, but you will need your tax ID numbers. No problem, we have that. So just make sure you know or you can bring in your tax ID number. So we did that. So the next day. The next day we come in, which is today, we go in there, and I show up with all my phones and the tax ID number, which was, for me, hard to find because I'm not always putting, business is 26 years old. I didn't know where the tax ID number was. But nevertheless, I found the actual documents for my tax ID number, and Bo had her information as well. Now, I also brought in a binder which had my registration documents for my business and my articles of incorporation. But I gave them the tax ID number. So originally they just wanted the numbers, but when we got there, they later asked for the actual document. And so I give them the document. Then they asked me if I have a business license. Then I said, no, I have something even better than that. I have articles of incorporation. So I gave them that. Then he asked me if I have business registration. And I said, what is the problem? I said, is it credit? I'm sure I got good credit. They said, no, it's not the credit. They don't even run the credit for businesses. They just need this documentation. So they asked for my driver's license. I give them that. I literally gave them every piece of documentation that they asked. Remember, I was turning off 7 phones, and I was only going to keep 2 phones. So actually, I was going to buy 1 phone, and the phone was multi-NAM, I think they said, so I could actually have 2 phone numbers on 1 phone. So I was going to kind of do that. And the other phones, I wouldn't even really need them. I was going to possibly consider maybe adding one more line, but for the most part, that was going to be it. And I know Bo had a similar situation. So in Bo's case, she has a nonprofit, and they wanted all kinds of information. See, here's the thing. We were transferring these numbers over. We already had phones, so it wasn't like we wanted anything from them but better service. We both got denied.
Yeah, well, not denied. We just could not proceed forward. They claimed that transferring to Verizon from T-Mobile, there was a fraud alert put on to our two separate accounts, and they said that fraud alert happened. So we provide all the extra documentation, as Kyle was talking about, which is he actually had his paperwork, physical paperwork, dated from 1996.
1996.
Found all the paperwork. He ran around the house looking for the paperwork, got the paperwork. I had mine all along, and I didn't need to bring anything else because I had my digital version of my documentation. Needless to say, they attempted multiple times to scan his documentation along with his ID, and something happened with Verizon system. It could not be scanned for hours. And then mine situation, digital, they all of a sudden said that they can't scan that either. And so our IDs, which is our driver's license that's used every day with the barcode in the back, the regular, whatever.
But everybody else in the store can get their information scanned.
Right. And
there was
so
no scanning issue.
So we asked the question, what is it? Because of course, we have good credit. They said they didn't run credit. It was just a fraud alert put on because Verizon is a stickler of, just making sure that they're protecting their customers and there's fraud going on. Well, I'm a cybersecurity professional. I know what about the fraud and the scams and all of that stuff. I know what's happening. However, no one can really tell us anything more other than, it was a fraud alert and we couldn't scan your paperwork because of some system issue. Mm-hmm. So we walked out 2 days of trying to do this, walked out with no phones, no transfer, no nothing. So we're back still with T-Mobile because we still have not been able to transfer over for those challenges.
And let me also add this. We spent about 4 hours in the store on the last time that we just went, us just coming back.
And we had appointments.
And we had other things to do. But the biggest hurt piece in all this is that they researched our business on national databases and noticed that the business are in good standings, everything's good. They went on a computer and did all kinds of Google searches. Everything's there. Business, all
active.
the IDs, everything's good. And I showed documentation. And, we went as far as Instagram, Facebook, everything. They seen all that. And they clearly want us to come back. We literally ran out of time. I mean, we was in there 4 hours. They was about to close.
And they told us, told me if I come home and scan the document, which is the same documentation that they had. They even printed it out and scanned it in. And, to text the lady at the store to let them know that I did it, which is what I was doing before we got onto this online. But needless to say, we are back where we were. We're still with T-Mobile. We still have all of our lines. And
shout out to T-Mobile.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm out on the fence about maybe going to, physically going, because we went to what is it called?
An agent.
An agent of a reseller of Verizon. So maybe this is because it's a reseller that we was having these issues. It's not, but they said they were talking to a Verizon headquarters people, but they seemed a little dry and no personality whatsoever taking our information. So I don't know. I would love to know from you guys, who do you have? Do you love them? Or if you don't love them, and if you've had some challenges transferring from one provider to another provider, and what have you.
And I also want to add, we had numerous documents scanned they took pictures of numerous documents, and all that information is with whoever they sent it to, and that's the biggest thing. They're concerned with security, but meanwhile,
we gave up
we gave up all our information. So what I want to say to Verizon or whoever has anything to do with it, if it gets this far, is one: if you're going to make a requirement for documents to be scanned, they shouldn't have scanning. Does not mean take a picture of it with your phone and scan it. They should invest in real scanners, and if the phone, if you're going to use a phone, they need to invest in special phones that can scan paper. And when that scan goes to whoever computer, they need the correct computer optics to be able to see it. Because one of the things they said, well, when they scan it, they don't see it on their end on their computer. That's not our problem. We had the documentation, and for us to be up in there wasting our time, two business owners, two business people, where everybody and everything is dependent on us, to have to go through that. That's not fair. That's not right. That's a huge inconvenience, and it's a disappointment. Verizon should be totally disappointed that we had to go through this kind of experience. I mean, we had to sit in there 4 hours, and then the first time we had to sit in there probably about a half an hour to an hour. So we spent the total 5 hours
to come out with goose eggs.
To come out with nothing, and to have all our documentation in Verizon's database of whatever
somebody's
they have
database. I don't know. I mean, we don't have an ID number of the people that we were talking to on the phone. We just trusted that these are agents that is going to do right by, Verizon standards and making sure our information is getting to the appropriate place. I don't know. We don't know, and we came out with nothing. And maybe I would not be worrying about it, or we wouldn't be worrying about it if we had our services transitioned over. I don't know, but I don't have the one with fuzzy, and now I'm of the mindset, because I do believe in signs, and if things doesn't come easy, then it's not for me. We tried twice, 2 different days, still jumping through hurdles, and come out with something with nothing. So I think maybe we need to pump the brakes a little bit. I don't know if we need to stay with T-Mobile or not, because we're not happy with that service either, because it's more droppage. Although they're 5G, although we have the latest phones, and then I'm going to explain, because I'm sure someone is going to want to know what phones we have. We have the iPhone 15 Pro Max. We have a 12 Pro Max. We have a OnePlus 9.
Right. It's Samsung Galaxy Z Flip or something like that. And we have another Samsung Galaxy Note or something like that.
And a OnePlus.
And another OnePlus.
And a gaming.
And a gaming phone. We have good phones. All of them are 5G capable. I
just wanted to put that out there, because some people are like, oh, maybe it's because of your phone. Nope, it's not our phones. We have the latest and greatest, and we keep our phones up to date. We make sure that we are, updating and etc. But that's not the issue. It is strictly on the back office systems, where they cannot handle the scanning. Their scanning does not operate effectively to be able to read documents that they tell you to bring in, physical nor digital. Right. So that's a major
so their
issue.
Scanning technology is a major issue. They need to
maybe somebody can help them.
Some plain old-fashioned real scanners, since they gotta have this documentation. That way, they can get scanned onto the OCR, and the information can go right to a computer and they can have it, or just a regular plain old scanner with a scanner fax. It can fax over to the regular people. They are a phone company, so they should have this capability. They should be investing in this capability. I just think it's a major inconvenience to us. We're going to go on a campaign of multiple social media platforms talking about this issue, because it wrecked my day. Yeah. And hopefully this don't happen to no one else.
Yeah, so if you are transferring from, at least we can speak on the transfer from T-Mobile to Verizon, you will need, as a business owner, you will need to have physical copies in hand, not scanned, not digital, but physical copies of your employee ID number, which is your EIN. You will need to have a copy of your articles of incorporation. You need to have your certificate of something, whatever it is.
Thumbprint, eye print,
You you need your
leg,
driver's license.
everything.
Make sure that it is active, it is valid, and it is current. And it still may not be scannable, but make sure you have an active, driver's license, because that's what they're going to ask for, or passport. I did see that as an option as well.
And in closing, let's continue this conversation. Comment below, like and subscribe. We got many more videos we plan to send you, plan to give to you. And thank you for taking the time listening.
Listen to our rant, but hopefully you learned something from it, especially if you're transitioning from T-Mobile to Verizon as a business. That's what this video is about. So thank you for being here, and again, subscribe, like, share,